What the fuck are we doing here?
By any means necessary, that's why I carry. By any means necessary, that's why I carry. Shouts out to X at the window with the gun. Or was it the Tech 9 and KRS-One? When is the best time to make your ops run? Make they so fly. Keep my 45 looking like the FOI. Hollow rounds that sound just like a war cry. Should've stayed down cause now it's crunch time. When I walk away and take everything that's mine. Sacrifice your fate when you dropping a dime. The silver-tongued devil drinking from the grapevine. The anger on this level can be called the hate crime. Justified before I'm tried, guess that's fine. How a nigga gon' provide and he ain't got spine? These begging ass niggas that ain't got no grind. That's why I drop a stack on the Krishna shrine. I keep one in the chamber and a switch on my 9. Then my victims stand in line. They gotta take a number and better bring a lunch. Full moon, I'm under with a werewolf's hunt. My witches got intuition and riches on the hunch. My family's a dynasty, they all get a cut. We don't believe in luck. The miracles are literal with physical bucks. Tinted windows invisible in that Maybach truck. Can't be seen. 21st century on that gangster lean. Puffing on the finest green. Then I get away clean. They eyes wide shut just like fentanyl fiends. And once they open up, it's the end of your dreams. I'm a solo nigga known for taking whole teams. But I'll tell you one thing. By any means necessary, that's why I carry. By any means necessary, that's why I carry.
Officer, you want to say you're going to lock me up for telling you my story? I told you.
Jack Diamond. I remember when them lights start flashing, we threw our stash and we start dashing. But now I ask them in gentleman fashion, what's the issue? Hand them my license, they get excited, and they say it really is you. Can I get a picture and a signature for my wife and sister? I say sure, mister, never officer, because his office is miniature. Money miscellaneous and life is miserable. When you ain't got no job, it's career criminal. Where stacks is never minimal. This is the life that we chose. Heart grows gold, do time and go to the hole. Still shine wherever we go. Better to be known for being honorable than holding on chrome. Keeping my family safe at home, cause it's cold outside. Known by dragging eyes on both sides. That's mob and bow ties. Opposition always gonna get lies. Fuck your proposition, I'll never testify. This the art of surprise. Jack Diamond. A lot of underworld mechanics on God's green planet. Between cement and gaining a jacket. The dinosaurs are gigantic. The wild boards are attacking. The finest swords are attractive. Trying to find a play for a score to happen. Light feet don't give you enough weight for traction. I'm never clashing with the police. Yeah, they know me. This is order. We organize respectfully. Cause technically, my PI is on 5G. Don't be fucking with nobody that you're trying to see. Get in, be swimming amongst officials. Blind them with your diamonds, have your eyes as sharp as crystals. Put your heart in your pistol, making decisions on dark issues. Believe more than the mark within you. And still got court dates to tend to. I lead by example for my nephew. Cause these are blessed moves, and it's best to leave those fools alone. They'll be standing in line, collect, calling on a pay phone, begging for a loan.
You put your hands on me. What is your name?
Jack Diamond. Revolution or prostitution? The con artist, a professional that's signing on the Constitution. We hear the problems and provide solutions. My authorities respected, my nigga. There is no confusion. When there's collateral damage, I collect restitution. Inspect the test designed for losing. Them swines be cruising. So my movement is zigzag. To ditch that, bitch ass, rip rap, get cash, and stay away from the blue flash that says who that, and stop right there. Mama yells Christ's sake until she got white hair. At Night fiends got bright stares. We all live and learn that life ain't fair. Every bad boy gets a death row chair. Puff cigars and blow O's in the air. And official just like Smokey the Bear. Never scared when the dough is right there. Me and the gang's a tight pair. After the daydreams, here come the fucking nightmares. Jack Diamond.
Yo, what is going on in the house, man? On Friday, I hope y'all got a smooth Friday plan for yourselves, man. Go out here and party tonight. You know, yeah. What has the world come to? The world has come to some very sloppy, disgusting shit. We know everybody is waiting to see what's gonna happen for this so-called November situation when the new president is supposed to be coming in. We don't know what the fuck we're looking at, Regardless of what you're looking at, get yourself prepared. And the only way you could really do that is by getting the Kicked Out of Heaven series. Do you understand me? And with that $100, you will get a series of 8 books. You'll get the Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, 2, 3, the Black Man's Bible, the Real Nigga Etiquette, the Ethereal Law, and the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women for free. Okay, in PDF. All right. Also, donate to the guys 20 on the Last Man Standing in this motherfucker. You best believe it. Everybody else has failed you, brother. Don't you see this situation that's been going on with Charleston White talking shit about Lil Woody and shit? But this is the common trend. You go hook up with somebody, you act like everything is all good. We have a beautiful conversation. Then a couple days later, you come putting out some video talking shit about the nigga. So we see what backstabbing is. This is a example of the Napoleon. The nigga did like 4'2" and 130 pounds. Nigga, get your bitch ass fuck out of here talking all that goddamn shit. You didn't even fell out with your homeboy Dewberry, nigga. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. You's a bitch, nigga. You understand? And it was almost embarrassing to even take the little shorty I was with to the event. This nigga get up on stage talking about some goddamn how he done sent a dick pic to another nigga. Bandman Kevo, nigga, what type of bitch ass nigga is this? But you see that they've all failed you. They've all failed you. They gave you promises that they could not fulfill. Even this nigga Umar Johnson. Even this bitch ass nigga Crumb TV over here talking about he support Diddy and all this other shit. Nigga, if you don't get your motherfucking mark ass fuck out of here talking shit, nigga, about dead people and shit, nigga, you ain't finna stand up on Nam, nigga. All these niggas is 5 foot tall, 120, 30 pounds, but you look real big on the camera, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. Bitch ass niggas now. And niggas is some marks, bro. You know what I'm saying? They stand on their own, can't stand on the streets, nigga. So you get up on the internet talking all this goddamn shit, you can't stand on your goddamn self, nigga. And your car gonna get pulled because motherfuckers are definitely going to build the profile of who you are when you're on the internet. You know what I'm saying? When I first got up on here, it was 2007, 2008. I was just clowning. I actually got on here because I got into a heated argument at a job about I had to tell an old schooler, old schooler was like, I don't know why you young and why you reading all them books. I was like, I read these books to tell me why niggas like you don't read, nigga. You old ass niggas then fucked up the whole game and left us shitty, and my generation did the same shit for the next generation. I'll go ahead and confess that. And the reason being is because we couldn't apply no force. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't apply any force for the maintenance of our households. We couldn't apply any force on our woman. The woman wants to battle us, And now we're in a situation where we depend on, motherfuckers who've been getting into DUIs and been drinking and going to the club past 20 years to vote for the right president. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. You know, niggas been over here eating the goddamn red lobster for 15 years and think they have a credible brain to judge, to place a vote that for who's going to be ruling the country. Nigga, get the fuck out of here. You do not have the intel or the intellect to be making any proper judgments when it comes to who's going to be running this country. You best believe that shit. So whatever plan is set up, they got set up. You know, you got Putin over here talking about he's considering dropping nuclear bomb. We don't know what the fuck that's going to do, especially in our day and age. It'll be a great wake up call. You know, humans, especially Americans, have too many provisions. They're too comfortable. You know, they've lost respect out of convenience. There's no true that's applied to the average American thought pattern, and we can see that. And also, definitely a lack of intelligence when it comes to quote unquote spirituality. Um, you know, and out of these things, we have a very bad situation that could come up. But it'll be a wake up call, most definitely, for the average American. Maybe the people need a famine. Maybe the people need the atom bomb to have more respect towards, the brother and the sister. We need to have common courtesy, and common courtesy is not a common trait amongst our everyday dealings. And even if it is there on a very minute scale, and then usually is done underneath the guise of falsehood, and you say hi and bye, and you keep things short and sweet, because humans tend to wreck things, and they have a lot of, they have a lack of emotional control, and will respond off of their emotions and their animus when it comes to situations. Don't fall into those spaces of responding out of emotions. It's You'll always get a negative result when those situations occur. So yeah, emotional. um you don't know when somebody has invoked jealousy on a situation. You never know when a person has decided to declare war on you. And you gotta watch what people say. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's very obvious through the profile that people want to develop on watching me and watching my videos. My trust factors are low, very low. We are running on E in the area of trust. I'm running on E in the area of wanting to develop art with others. I could do interviews and things like that. I might be able to collab on a book. Um, a s- I have a very short patience when dealing with other people, because I can move quickly on a lot of the things that I do and how I see shit. And to be honest, those thought patterns were actually modified by other people. One thing that a lot of people have told me during the course of developing art is, these are your ideas, this is your shit. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is, then let it be that. Then, I'm not gonna say, hey, we could work together in this area, or none of that shit. I'm cool. Or some people will say, yeah, I'm with it. And then you draw the plan, and then I have duties and you have duties, and we have deadlines to meet, and people will disappear on you during the deadline, and then their duties are unfulfilled as well. So then you have to pick up all the slack, when you could have just did all of that from the get-go and not included a retarded motherfucker. And you don't even know that these areas are going to show up until they show up, until the deadline is supposed to come in. And then we have excuses, and a lot of people think that they can operate by excuses. And so why even just and due to the fact that these are capabilities and also a common trend with a multitude of different people that you've met from different walks of life, then why even fuck around? Just do it. It's better for you to do it yourself. You want something done right, do it yourself is the motto, right? So, what has the world come to today? That's what we're talking about, whether that's individualistically or whether that's by the nation. I need to interview the brother here, CFR Network. What's up with you from UK? I need to interview him about what he sees. And that's usually why I can give good data, is because I talk to people who are in the region and you tell me what you see, and we match that in with other data that has been stated from a multitude of different sources. Mr. Goodburger was cracking. And those sources would be news sources, of course, but you got to piece things together and, do your little research, towards situations that are pertinent. So if the Putin was to drop the atom bomb, what is it going to be? What's your first thing? What's the first thing you're going to do? What's the first thing I'm gonna do? The first thing I'm gonna do is, my phone will probably be ringing off the hook, but I'm just gonna sit right here in the crib. There will be war panic. Um, and there's a specific word for it. I don't know if that's the right term, but war panic, where people just start going into, crisis mode, because, our country has been affected with such a large attack. Grocery stores will be attacked, people will be raiding all types of stores and whatnot. And through that raiding situation, there's going to be a lot of casualties that's going to occur. People are going to die, through that. And then there's going to be the marauder groups. A lot of people are going to group up, and then there's people who are already prepared. At the end of the day, we never know what's going to come tomorrow, and we never know what's written in our own book. So if there was to be an atom bomb in a specific region, I'm pretty sure he's not going to drop multiple. And then, due to the fact of what we see in history with what happened with Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we don't know how far the technology has developed when it comes to this level of weaponry. So, if an atom bomb was to drop, how far does it stretch out? If something was to hit New York, does it stretch to New Jersey? Does it stretch to Washington, D.C.? We can definitely expect for there to be radiation that engulfs those areas. The air is going to be terrible, but that's on the east coast of America and not necessarily the west coast. So people in Las Vegas might just go straight to might go to the casino. The casino might be down for a day or two, but due to the fact that it is definitely a habit and an addiction, people are going to try to get back up in there. Um, for real. So we don't know. We don't know what type of situation may come. We do have residents of America that are of all of these countries and locations of people who hate us. And we have Russians here, we have Chinese here, we have Japanese here. We don't know who is the enemy. We don't know. And we don't know who loves or hates America. And we don't know if, the neighbor, your neighbor, is in the mind frame of protecting the homeland in which they live on. They may fall into, a combatant mind frame as well. And if you are a combatant, you are against Americanism, even though America is your home. And people complain. It doesn't matter about what time period it is on this planet, you will have the complaint of people will complain about their home, they're complaining about the emperor, they're going to complain that the king has the jewels. And it's always been like that. So we don't know. We don't know what the goal may be in some people's brains, and a lot of people may not have a goal at all. They just may be responding and reacting to shit. To have a goal oriented mind is usually of those who understand planning is important, and executing the plan, and you know surviving. A lot of people can't do that. So how do you test the brains of those who come around you? Do you have a benevolent heart? And do are you going to give the apple to the stranger type of thing? We don't know. You know, is it best to just have your full defense line up against everybody? And that's one thing that I discovered with the plague situation. I used to always watch I mean, not always watch zombie movies, but I watched The Walking Dead, like the first two seasons or whatever. And we've all watched a zombie movie, or what they call a dystopian movie, the end of the world type theory in the film. And I used to always question myself, it's like, yo, if there's zombies all over the planet, why are humans fighting each other? You know? And I really didn't understand it until I studied for and composed the plague section in volume 2. And that's where I saw, because there will be the robbers, okay, what they called back then the housebreakers. They called robbers housebreakers, okay. That's where that term comes from. And they were in the status of self-preservation, obviously. So they would pillage and plunder, any homes that looked as if there was nobody living there. And even when it came to little children, they might take the children with them, or they might leave the child there to fend for themselves. And they would take the clothes off of those who were dead from the plague. And because clothing and linen at that time was expensive, and they would wrap themselves in the sheets, and they would wear the clothes of the plague, of those who died of the plague. And sometimes they would catch the plague from wearing those clothes and then die themselves. And then sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they would gain those clothes and then try to sell them off to other survivors, or you know it was those type of scenes. So there's going to be the marauder groups, and people are going to fight for life, fight to exist, basically. Um, yeah, that's funny. The homie. Let's talk about this one right here. And peace to the nigga Stalin right here. Okay, this is the homie right here that did the video for Stay Alive. If you need any Haitian report, you can hit him. That's my nigga right there. Job. So yeah, Mr. Goodburger states that shit was stretched out like a soap opera, Night of the Living Dead series. Yeah, it was. Like, and let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up, because that was definitely to influence us psyche status, a psychosis of deprivation and depression. Okay. To live in the status of neglect and hunger, which is also deprivation. Okay. And that's what they were trying to influence on society, with the constant imagery of poverty stricken environment, which is basically what they were living in, all of them, as being nomadic, and also violence towards any living thing. Now, when you want to talk about what the zombie is, which is where it comes from, the country Zambia, and which is also a condition with inside the voodoo rites, that is a spell. And this spell was done on it was going on during the whole Caribbean experience of what was happening during the slave trade. And this is a slavery condition. So the zombie is not actually what you want to call the Walking Dead or the undead. Okay, the undead is of witchcraft, which is Europe. The zombie is specifically underneath the voodoo rites, and zombies were created for slaves. They were created as slaves There's a specific type of concoction that you have to make, and there's a whole process for it. I don't go into that inside the Real Nigga Etiquette Voodoo Edition, but one of the key ingredients for that concoction was the poison of the pufferfish, the pufferfish that puffs out and has the little thorns all over its body. Yeah, that fish possesses the poison that is needed as an ingredient for the zombie ritual. And zombies, metaphysically, metaphorically, was a drafting into, for African American culture, the status of a slave. Okay, so before, because during in the islands it was very hard to put down slavery, and to into existence, and because there wasn't that much export besides sugar. And I think you had sugar. I think there was coffee as well, and I think there was maybe some tobacco. But tobacco is a very difficult plant to grow, and that's why it was done in America. And I think that was like South Carolina region or some shit like that, you know. But that's what the zombie is. Okay. Now, when it comes to a TV show like The Walking Dead, and that's what they were trying to incorporate on the American citizens, was to walk in the status of death, basically. And what did you see? You saw scarred up tissue, right? Is the first status that you recognize about these quote unquote zombies. What is scarred tissue? Tattoos. Wasn't the show Black Ink going on at the same time as the show of The Walking Dead that played out for like 10, 12, 15 fucking seasons? Right? Right? So then what did the people do? The people recognized themselves as being the Walking Dead, and then they wanted to, incorporate this LGBTQ shit, which is also a Walking Dead situation because you cannot reproduce. Life reproduces. Homosexual activity does not reproduce, right? So that you are a walking dead. And when you are in the realm of the LGBT or whatever homo shit you got going, you see what I'm saying? So to scar the flesh is the tattoos, which is a correlation. And you must understand that the undead or the zombie is also a bloodsucker, which is correlated with the mosquito, with the flea, with the tick, with the bed bug, with the werewolf, with the vampire, with the Dracula. Okay. All of these entities are bloodsuckers. Okay. You have to understand that. So the mentality of the undead coming out of old Europe, which the undead is actually the manifestation of a necromancer being buried. Okay. And this is where you get the cages. Let me show you the cages. These are called mort cages. Okay, and this is why you have to have the book. You see the teeth? You see the teeth? You see that? You see that? That is called the this is a condition called porphyria. Okay, and the family of these individuals right here are called the Cullens. And the Cullen family is the name of the family that was inside the TV show, The True Blood, I think it was. And that is also around the same time as The Walking Dead, right? So, and this is real deal. This is a throwback, okay? So you have to understand that. And this is the dude that played in the Toxic Avengers right here. Okay. And he has a condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia, which is a rare condition leaving him with no sweat glands, hair, fingernails, or teeth, nor can he be, and he's very sensitive to sunlight. Okay. So you have to understand that these things, okay, are in existence and come from European folklore, witchcraft. These are mort cages, which used to get put over the graves of necromancers. So when they come back alive, the undead comes back alive. They're caged in and they can't roam about the people. Okay. Maybe I should read y'all undead story real quick. Let's see if we have one in here. That comes up real quick here. Okay. because there's many stories, and the stories that are in this book come from the 1400s and the 1500s. Okay, let's see here. Uh, yeah, here goes some more cages, and these come from the kirkyards um, of Scotland. And kirk is also the one of the root words to church. Okay, but kirk is the Scotland enunciation of the word Circe for Circe, which is Circe is Greek goddess. Yeah, I think Circe is. Hold on, let me check. Because the Rome and the Greek is basically, let me see here. Yeah, it's a Greek goddess. Circe is a Greek goddess. Now Circe is known as bringing individual. She would play music, and her music would attract animals to her home. Yeah. See, it says right here, see, in Greek legend, sorceress, the daughter of Helios, the sun god, and understand that Helios is also defined as hell. So, um, that's how Greeks looked at the sun. For the heat is hell, the sun god, and of the ocean nymph Perse. Okay, that's Perse. Okay. Now she was able by means of drugs and incantations to change humans into wolves, lions, and swine. Okay, that's what the Circe is. So that's why it's also the Circe is also circus, which is also circle, which all witchcraft dances are done in a circle, and also the word church. Okay. So when you have the big food gathering at the church, and usually the majority of your preachers are what? Fat. Okay. And they are the swine that has been filled with the foods of Circe. Okay. So let me see here. Hmm. Let me see if I can pull one of these undead stories up out of here. Okay. Yeah, here we go. In the year of our Lord, 1345 at Levin, a town of Bohemia, the body of a woman ate in her grave. Okay. The same thing happened in the days of Martin Luther, when there was also seen the body of a woman who had gnawed her own flesh. The same thing happened in the year 1552 in a village which is near Freiburg. The same in the year 1553 at Lubin in Cilicia. And the same happened in 1565 at Sangerhausen. This example also ends from Schlüsselburg. The same happened in the year 1579 in the neighborhood of Weiss Marion. Adam Rother, in his treatise on the plague, says that when this scourge was raging in Marburg, many bodies, both in the town itself and in the country places round about, were heard to utter strange voices. This happened in the year 1581. When the plague was decimating a Schissel being, the people noticed that the same thing took place in certain graveyards. This is related by Ignatius Hennelus in his Tractatus De Pest in Schessel's being. At the beginning of this present century, in the year 1603, in the village of Nienstad, which is not far from Hamburg, a body was heard to be uttering from the grave a hoarse sound like the heavy grunting of swine. A full account will be found in the work of Schlüsselburg, the eminent Harsdorfer, whom we have quoted above. mentions a similar occurrence when the body of a man not only devoured and swallowed his own linen shroud, but also half devoured the corpse of a woman in a neighboring grave. But our author does not give the year. This happened at Egwinshitz, a town of Moravia, only 7 years ago. In 1672, there was an exactly similar case in a certain village which lies at a distance of 3 miles from this very town, and it was observed by an intimate friend of mine, one who is worthy of the utmost confidence, the body of a man whose name, although known to me, I prefer not to mention, having been most rashly exhumed by the villagers, was found to have eaten his own limbs. I may add that references to a larger number of books and a more intensive study of history would afford many more examples, but enough has been said conclusively to prove the truth of our thesis, namely that the dead have actually been known to perform the act of manducation. Okay, and this is from a museum in Iceland. Okay. Right. So you don't know their culture. Therefore, you don't know what you're looking at when you're watching TV shows like The Walking Dead. That is the fucking point. That is why I wrote this shit. Do you understand? How many cases did I just read? I just read like 10 different cases of these individuals. Now, there's a lot of science to it. One of these things where they were drinking out of cups that were made of lead. So the ale that they were drinking would actually pass them out. I mean, knock them out for about 2-3 days. And this is where they would find their uncle or whatever passed out in the middle of the street, and they would bring the body inside the house and put it on the table. And this is where you get your modern day wake from before a funeral. And they would put the food around him and eat around the body on the table and wait for uncle to wake up. And if he didn't wake up, they would bury him. And this is also where you get bells on the headstone. And this is also where you get the graveyard shift from, because the bells they used to have bells attached to a string that went inside the casket and would be attached to a finger or wrapped around his arm. Therefore, if he started moving, the bell would start ringing. And usually they would have an individual that was overseeing the cemetery, because not only for the purposes of the bells to ring if somebody was alive inside of a casket, but also because the prostitutes would like to take their dates to the cemetery. And then there were also grave diggers who would try to rob graves of so-called rich men. And then they would also, and then at one time there was the sack 'em up gentlemen who were the who would go to the graves and dig up and disinter bodies out of the cemetery for purposes of cadavers to be practiced on in their medical studies inside the universities. This is where the term to pay with an arm and a leg comes from, because the students of these doctors, once the doctors would tell the students, hey, if you bring in body parts to the university, it'll help pay for your tuition at school. Okay. So you would always have to have somebody overseeing the cemeteries, because there was great arts going on. So that's where he said, and like I say in the song Dark Age on the Onyx Tablet, I say, if you can't survive the plague, grunt like swine in your grave. And that's exactly where you just heard the term from. So there was many times where individuals would be walking through the cemetery and you could hear the bodies of, supposedly people that were either alive or dead. They wouldn't know. And sometimes they were scared to dig up the bodies, because sometimes they would dig up the bodies and the casket lid would have all these scratches on the inside of the fucking casket, because somebody woke up out of their comatose state from being underneath a deep level of lead poisoning, and they would start scratching the top of the casket, and their fingernails would be all broke off and whatnot, but they were dead because they couldn't get out of the casket. Obviously, they were underneath dirt. And then there was other cases where they would redig up the body, disinter the body, because they still do this disinterring shit to this day. I've never found a status of disinterring a body out of the ground after they've already died in any other culture. Not to state that it's not there. I just haven't encountered it. There's many things in history that I haven't encountered. So let's just keep that clear. So there's also a lot of cases where, and this is where you have the famous situation of Jesus being wrapped in the shroud, in the sheet, because they used to wrap all the bodies in the sheet, and that's also what the original death was imposed as. The original pictography of death was a decayed skeleton who still had his skin on his bones, and he would be disemboweled, and usually with a little piece of the intestines being shown hanging out, and he would carry the sheet, and the sheet is definitely a representation of the end of existence, from you being born and then being wrapped into a sheet, and then when you die you are also wrapped into a sheet. Okay, so what would happen is some of these individuals would start chewing on the sheet in order to try to survive while they were inside the casket. And when they opened up the casket, the sheet would be in their mouth and they would have blood inside of it. And then also sometimes they would puncture the body, and the body would still be producing warm blood, and the body may have been buried for over the span of a month, 2 months, and warm blood would still come out. You see what I'm saying? And this is also how murderers were found if there was a mysterious death case that occurred. If a mysterious death case occurred, they would take the person who was being blamed for the murder and make them touch the body. And if they touch the body, usually the blood would come out, like warm blood would come out. You see what I'm saying? So, and it wasn't, and touching the body in a specific way where it wasn't supposed to. It's not like touching directly on the wound and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, this is where a lot of that undead shit comes from. But what you just heard of, those stories of the undead, are the great great grandfathers when we talk about theater, because this is how these entities stay alive, is through the areas of theater. Just like when I say the word zombie, you can immediately identify what a zombie is, because you have only been told what a zombie is through theater. Okay. Now, the movie that supports the quote unquote term zombie is called The Serpent and the Rainbow, which was shot in the 1970s, and that supports the voodoo system. That is not the system of old witchcraft. Okay. That is not the system of witchcraft with the serpent and the rainbow. That is voodoo, which may have some influence from the Waldensians, who do come from France. Okay. And they were expelled from France by the French because they were considered to be a heretic group. And this is where the pictures of the osculum infame and the individual sniffing on the cat's ass come from. That comes from what literature that was stating that was the activities of the Waldensians. Okay, now when we have to understand that these things survive through theater, and the zombie character is of its own. So when we talk about the undead, that is not really a character that has been brought into America. They what has been brought into America is the Dracula, which has the count term on it, and the count comes from the British hierarchy system, which that was one of their ranks. Okay, I don't know specifically what the duties of the count was, but that is one of their ranks in their monarchy system, right? So they put the count and they added to the Dracula, which the Dracula is the dragon. Okay, and it's really enunciated Dracula. Okay, and that's another trickery with the English language, and a lot of things that have been transferred over from Europe. you know um and they romanticized him, and with that romanticizing him, it was attached to the female for a longer survival route inside the space of theater. Once again, you have to understand that entities stay alive in the human psyche through theater, through plays. Okay, so after the Count Dracula, they also wanted to have a more animalized version, which stemmed from the capability of the Count Dracula turning into a bat, and also not being able to see himself inside the mirror. Now, the psychological status of not being able to see yourself inside the theater goes to the psychic vampire, which does not see the or feel the pain that he causes amongst those around him or those he interacts with, okay, which is a psychosis status, which may also be correlated to what we call today as narcissism, right? This is part of that whole cannibalistic, spiritual cannibalistic activity, okay? Now, when we talk about the bat, there's a lot of things about bats which separate them from doves, which are the reverse. The dove is the bird that landed on Noah's Ark, and the dove is also monogamous, and that's why in Christianity they hold on to the dove as a symbol of purity, because a lot of the symbols that you see in European culture are based on animals that are monogamous, because a monogamy mentality is a superior mentality towards polygamy. And the reason why is because monogamy shows that you have not only a focus and a concentration, but you also have a dedication of your love, and you also have more focus on helping others in the world than being reduced to your animus sexual mind frame. For you to have multiple females shows that you are still in the animal sexual mind frame, and the reason why they put the sexual mind frame inside the animal space is because that's all animals do. They do not build, construct. There is no architecture. There is no mathematics. You see, that's why this math is why I fuck with it, because it's bottom line. You can't even get around the shit. A bear doesn't build, my dude. Giraffes don't build. So all you do is fuck shit and eat, okay? And you repeat that cycle, okay? You are a maintenance of software for a certain genetic code, and that genetic code is your breed, okay? The zebra, the wildebeest, that's all. Y'all got a specific diet that you stick to, which you don't go outside of. You can't experiment with your foods. You've never seen a lion, eat boiled eggs and shit. You know what I'm saying? The lion is going to eat, other mammals, and they're going to go for the meat, the what they call the offal. Okay, so back to the bat and the dove. The dove is considered holy because of its monogamy, and you can also find this with the symbology of the eagle. The eagles are monogamous, okay, even though what's interesting about the eagle is that the vulture is of the eagle family. You see what I'm saying? So that's why vultures are also held. I don't know if vultures are specifically monogamous or polygamous. I haven't looked into that, but vultures, as we all know, eat off of carcasses. And one thing about the funniest thing about vultures that are in Europe, um, they have red eyes, and those are the only vultures on the planet that have solid red eyes. Okay, so when we go to the bat operates by sonar, and the bat also produces the guano, which is high in mineral content for the growth of foods when when you're doing your thing in the garden. Okay, and the bat cannot fly straight. The bat does not see. The bat sleeps upside down, and usually is only comes out during the night. And during the night is the creeping thing, and you are not supposed to eat the things that creep in the night. This brings the animal significance for the Count Dracula that allows the bridge to go into the vampire. The vampire is not the Count Dracula. Those are two separate entities. The vampire is more animalistic, okay? And this brings the hierarchy system of the vampire, the humanized, um the humanized dead, the undead plus the Dracula equals the vampire, okay? And this brings a correlation with the werewolf, which is also a bloodsucker, okay? And the werewolf is in animal status supremely, and that's why the supposedly when a Dracula dies, um Right. Count Dracula has many wives too. Exactly. He usually has two women, and the two women can be correlated to um the video I did on the happy god out of ancient Egypt, which is the two women, which was symbolized as a snake and a vulture. Okay, the griffin vulture, and I think it was the asp snake that are symbolized in the two wives, and that's usually what Count Dracula has, is two wives with him, which is polygamy, which is bloodsucker, which is you're still in animalistic format. You're not in the mentality of the dove, which is the one who is going to give the message to Noah that it is okay to come out of the boat and replenish the earth. Okay, and is also going to stay. It's white completely. Well, there's other doves too that aren't white, but the symbol is correlated to purity and correlated to the monogamy status and in defense of your love. That's basically what monogamy is. Monogamy is defense of your love, and if you cannot defend your love, then you have no love. Count Dracula feeds off of his wives, and they go hunt together. Okay, so this is the space, and then we have the werewolf. The werewolf is the combination of pure animal with pure human, and the human gets to exercise the freedom of the animal when it comes to savagery. Okay, when it comes to devouring, when it comes to no judgment for whatever crime that you want to commit. Now, it goes into some other dark spaces when you want to talk about the sexual vampire or the sexual werewolf, which that's another form. So you have to understand, especially when it comes to European thought, that everything gets amalgamated into a lot of different forms. They break shit down to a lot of forms. So you have a red apple, you have a green apple, you have a golden yellow apple, and there's a lot of forms of one thing, but that is also how nature is designed. You have you have a crocodile, you have an alligator, you have the alligator fish, you have a multitude of different um styles of the same um object. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I didn't even mean to go down this route. Speaking of this shit, and this is off the top of the dome. I haven't even read this information in some years, but it's always good to stay fresh with it. The energy is very potent in the Kicked Out of Heaven. Get it now, because all of this shit is up in here. I provide pictures to prove what the fuck I'm talking about, so you can be very confident when you go out here in the world and people want to say things around you, or you'll encounter certain discussions, and you can speak with confidence with what you may know on that subject. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I brought it, so we could really know what the fuck is going on. We've been looking at these entities for years, and you looking at the Count Dracula on the cereal box. You did not perceive that all of this shit was wrapped up into that entity, but yes, it is. When you eat Cheerios, and you didn't even know that that was a greeting in Britain. Cheerio. You see what I'm saying? They've been playing games on us. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. And that's why our health is completely shot. There's many metaphysics in food. Maybe I should do a show on that, or even a book for that matter. Why a hamburger is named a hamburger, and the orange, and the king of orange, and all of this shit, man. A macaroni is comes from old Europe. It was a so-called like Playboy type entity. I mean, individual. It was actually a style of dress that was going on, which turned into a character type. And that character type was divided into a lot of different macaronis. And there's even a more macaroni, who was actually the origin of Pippin in France. Okay, but I'm not even going to go into all of that right now, but it's definitely there. And yeah, there's a lot of shit. On how all the cheeses are named. The word sandwich comes from old Europe. I think that was also a kingdom at one time. Earl of Sandwich is where that comes from. So the majority of the foods that you eat are all named after European historical aspects. And I say aspects because it could be an individual, it could be a kingdom, and it could be a certain event, it could have been a certain style of dress or something that was going on during that time, but was invented then. And it's very it's hilarious on how I came into this conscious movement, and the entire time everybody was talking about, oh yeah, white folks, they ain't got no soul, they ain't got no this, they ain't got no that. And obviously these are trained Negroes who are telling you all of this to modify the extension of your thinking, and the extension of your knowledge, and what you're going to, and what you have the potential to delve into when it comes to your interest line. And I had to, I don't listen to no niggas, because niggas is losers by majority rule. Shit, niggas ain't got no tank, ain't got shit. So what the fuck I'm finna listen to a loser for? And your advice, unless you're a researcher, or you can show that you have had due diligence in a specific area, or then I'll sit down and consider what you're saying. But I'll definitely go backtrack and research everything that was spoken. But besides that, the majority of these niggas tried to modify your brain so you don't go into these areas of importance, and we can really find out what the origins are. But better be quick for BBQ. Barbecue, well, not barbecue, but fried chicken actually comes from Scotland. That shit don't come from no down south shit. The majority of Southern culture actually comes from, I think it's Southern England, and the way the words are said, and because the way English was taught to the Africans in that area was, obviously from those residents of that location when they came over on a boat, and they taught their culture to Africans, and that became Southern culture. And then I've also come across information on how cultures were specifically designed in Europe before they were brought here to America, and it was a whole system. And yeah, they knew what the fuck they were doing. And it's crazy on how many layers of what they knew what they was doing. Motherfuckers have got to be on a different level of intellect, because the rest of the planet ain't thinking in these spaces. And these niggas, it's phenomenal. It's fucking phenomenal. So you got to get the kicked out of heaven if you want to know your environment. I just broke down a whole bunch of shit that you have been witnessing, seeing, and hearing since you were a kid, since you were a child. Like one brother said on the comments in a couple of videos ago, the dancing plague was in the Bugs Bunny cartoons. Yeah, or the mushroom that was on the head in the Mario Brothers was mushrooms that were being eaten for hallucinogenic purposes in old Europe. It's a long, 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 long list of shit, bro. Long list of shit. And still to this day, that's how businesses are named. That's how, they've been able to maintain a level of power and mysticism over the rest of the planet, is through the energy inside the words. Okay. And the energies inside these words, from mass amounts of human sacrifice, mass amounts of sexual activity, mass amounts of, and the human sacrifice was done in a lot of different ways. Specifically executioners, the criminals, the wars and whatnot, and then even the women being taken to the stake, and all of that. And then there's orgy, all of that, and sexual activity and beauty is involved inside these words. Okay. And to be honest, I can't tell you that it was only in the medieval times, because that's not the case. A lot of this stuff actually stems from Greece and Rome, but then it was masterminded in the medieval times. Okay. and put all together. Okay. So yeah, that's what it is. That is the connectivity to it, and it's best for us to know than to be than to have boundaries, invisible boundaries built up around our capabilities and built up around um where we're permitted to be when it comes to incarceration, or when it comes to being around royals. We have barriers around us because we have a lack of knowledge of the words that have been applied um, to us, to our foods, and how we operate with inside underneath the cloak of those words. Whether your name is a Edward or a John or a Earl, or like Earl Simmons, so he got treated like royalty. Okay, because a earl was a rank inside British monarchy system. So, you know, we have to understand all of this shit, man. And it's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take way more than just the literature I composed, but this is definitely the key that opened up the door. Most definitely. Okay. Will I write more books on medieval? No, I most likely won't. But any subject that I encounter or that I want to write on will definitely have the medieval layer of intellect in it, because they mastered some shit, and I give credit where credit is due. So it ain't no up and nobody, it ain't no one to be like nobody, it ain't no none of that shit. It's just I give respect where I give credit where credit is due, yeah. So we got any questions? What's up, man? What y'all feeling, man? How y'all feeling about what's going on in the world today, man? What do you think is going to happen if Kamala get in office? What do you think is going to happen if Trump gets in office? If Trump gets in office, hopefully we get some checks distributed to a nigga's mailbox, please. Okay, up in here. Niggas need to distribute a check to my Cash App right now. Okay, for the donation, because the game I just gave you, nobody else underneath the sun would ever give you that shit. Because the majority of them don't know it, and the ones who do are in no space of putting up YouTube videos. I'll tell you that. So yeah, let's put it here. Yeah. So watch out what you're watching when you're watching your TV shows, because there's always an intent of social engineering with whatever show that is being put on television, especially when it comes to TV shows like The Walking Dead. There's a reasoning on why they got 12 seasons of that fucking shit. Nobody was sitting on their ass watching some fucking white boys chase around zombies for no 12 years, nigga. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah, how many seasons of that fucking show? Now, see, and I'm glad I brought it up like that, because what people need to get about the game is, what is the intent? How many, let me see here. How many seasons of The Walking Dead? 11 seasons, nigga. For 12 years the shit was online. I mean, it started in 2010 and ended in 2022. Exactly. A good hardcore 12 years, same time period, everybody was shaking their ass in the fucking club, getting all goddamn drunk and retarded, taking fucking 10 ecstasy pills at a time, and Adderall and Xanax, and all of that shit was going on in society. They dumped a lot of heroin in society at that time, all the pills and whatnot, and they made the people the Walking Dead. As a matter of fact, that's what heroin is. The opium. When motherfuckers take that shit, they go to sleep and be all fucking leaned over and shit and all crazy. That is literally The Walking Dead. What the fuck you need a show like that on for 12 fucking years? There is an intent. You have to always find the reasoning of a thing. And then when you find the reasoning of a thing, yeah, the brother stated right here. That's what I was stating earlier. The southern drawl is actually a British accent. Yes, it is. Okay. But once you find the reasoning of the thing, you find the purpose. And there is no purpose for a show like The Walking Dead. There's nothing you learn. You may learn some survival tactics or whatever the case, but that is no reason why we're going to put millions and millions of dollars into a show for 12 years fucking straight. We put millions and millions of dollars into the show so you will, by default, fall into a psychological space of hating existence, and then you will also become the Walking Dead. You know, you will smoke the meth, you will think in the status of depression, you will drink the alcohol, which is called a depressant. Alcohol is called a depressant. Okay, let's keep that clear. And you will do the opium and you will be great bum for the rest of your days. And this is where we want you at. We want you stuck. We want you running back to the hospital. You come to the hospital, we put the fentanyl in your system, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the hospitals that got more people doped up and got more people hooked on dope than your average drug dealer. There's people who went into the hospitals because, yeah, and you had the creation of the Walking Dead. How many people was on the skateboards breaking their foot, breaking their legs, breaking their arms? The little kids breaking their fucking ribs, doing some dumbass shit on a fucking weak ass skateboard, and then you go to the hospital and they dope you up with the fucking fentanyl and the Adderall and all this other shit, and then you sitting up in the hospital for 2 months, and then once you get out of the hospital, you're addicted now. So now you're looking for your dope. You need your hit, you know. So that's what that whole intention was to break society down. So you have to watch out for that shit. Whenever you're watching somebody online, you know, whenever you see something new being enforced into society, you need to question what is its reasoning, and you need to find the reasoning behind it, so you know what the purpose is and if it's good for you or not, and you need to steer left. And 90% of the shit is not going to be good for you. It's specifically entered into society to destroy you. Okay, so somebody got a question here, I'll go ahead and entertain here. Will the United Nations passing the plan for the future lead to the New World Order plan? I've never heard of nothing about the plan for the future. Okay. I've never, nothing about no United Nations or any of that. But I know these white folk are trembling right now because there's too many people online talking about the atrocities that they've committed on the entire earth. And it's being drawn down to, a a mass hysteria of group thought. Black people want their reparations, for example, and a lot of other things. And we have all the wars going on, and who supports Israel and who supports that, and where did all this Black Lives Matter shit come from? Where did all this LGBT shit come from? Ain't no nigga enforcing that shit in society. And then they try to teach this shit to your children inside the schools. Okay. So it is very clear that it is coming from you fucking corporate fucks at the top, you officers, the CEOs and the CFOs and the things of that nature. And you have some weird agenda going on and all of that is being enforced by the BlackRock, the Vanguard, and the third company, I forgot the name of it. But BlackRock and Vanguard have social something, a social I forgot what it's called, but it's some like social scoring card or a social score that the corporations have to follow, or they won't get any financing. And the higher ups, who are the corporate officers and the owners and the presidents and the vice presidents of these corporations, they don't want to be removed from their position. So they're going to go ahead and follow suit because they're not living on the bottom where you're going to be playing out all of these things and you are affected by all of these things. You see? So that's just the bottom line. And until there's true anger expressed, not being had, We're not going to sit down and talk with you on a fucking podcast about this goddamn shit. Somebody needs to be, drugged, somebody needs to be skinned. You understand? And that has been the activity of humans for eons. That's how we respond to these type of situations. The angry mob, and that's just all there is to it. They want to talk about what's humane or what's inhumane, and they've been dropping bombs on children, since America has been founded, and it's very obvious that they're going to continue to do so. And they will hire your children underneath the guise of being a soldier or draft them into the military to carry out their deeds and functions. Do you understand? It's terrible shit. It's terrible shit, you know? And that is what the world has come to. We're going to vaccinate you and then shut it down. We're going to vaccinate you. And then if you don't take the vaccination, we're going to fire you from your job. And then 2, 3 years later, we're going to hire immigrants who have no vaccination, don't have a license, and don't even know how to speak English over you. Okay. Well, we told you that you had to have the vaccination or you lose everything. You see? So you see how they put the boundaries around the brain? You see? Now, why didn't I take the vaccination? It's simple. Vaccinations, which were invented off of drinking the pus out of buboes. Okay. It was done by a pope. Okay. And there's also a saint that used to do the same type of activity. He used to pop the bubo and just drink the pus. Okay. This so-called developed immunity, which really immunity or the big battle of disease came from insulin. And what is insulin? Insulin is literally molded bread. Okay. So the mold from old bread got created into a medicine which allowed the human to catch certain diseases and not feel the full wrath of that disease. One of those diseases is syphilis, because syphilis used to rot off the whole bottom jaw, used to put fucking big ass holes in the skull. We were talking about the whole scalp would fall off, and then it would eat the bone. It would deform the bones of the face and shit. It would also rot off all your fingers, and it would also cripple your leg bones and eat the cartilage in your knees. Okay, this is what syphilis used to do to people, until insulin was discovered in the late 1800s, I think it was, and it also assisted with the Spanish flu, the yellow fever, when America had a little plague in the early 1900s. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that is, why I didn't take it, because I don't drink pus. It's really that simple. You know what I'm saying? So when you understand these things, and then when you understand what a plague truly is, and you can look at the people and look at what's going on with our modern day, and a plague wouldn't even survive, even if they were to try to, if they were to put the plague in a blimp right now and fly it over the American people, everybody is not going to get caught with the shit. But by majority rule, the people who have dogs and have fleas in their home and have cats and have congested air and have very low and I mean not low, but have don't have any restriction on the foods that they consume, and they eat very highly processed foods, they'll die out, and some of those may survive as well because of their resilience towards the plague, because they are already in the room. Sickness can't fight sickness. Okay, basically is what I'm showing you. Is a fight fire with fire type thing, right? So if you're already sick from, heavily from a certain type of bacteria, then the bacteria of the plague won't affect you. And then we also have a system where it won't be contagious, and neither, because everybody has different eating habits, and we all have different lifestyles, every single person in America. So due to that fact, there won't be a similarity. Anybody who's drinking a lot of milk will probably catch it, because that weakens anything that weakens the immune system. But like I stated, there's also a clause of sickness being able to survive amongst sickness. You see what I'm saying? So it would be interesting, but it wouldn't knock out the people. It wouldn't knock out the numbers that they expected, because we all have different chemicals that we're operated by nowadays. And that goes to a lot of different things that's pertaining to the lotion you use, the toothpaste you use, the deodorant you use, the clothes that you wear. I just found out that linens, um which are made of, hold on, I could look it up real quick. I'll put it on my page. Linens, let me see here if I can find this shit real quick. The I mean, not linens, but leggings. I think it's a lycra material is the name of the material, and this material actually imposes obesity on females. And they were wearing the leggings, and women, they want to do this whole "I'm big girl and I'm fat" to try to intimidate men, you know, by size. That's all it is. It's a false intimidation tactic. Don't don't think that that's real, because when it comes to their stance or stature, they're still wobbly, and still fall over. You know, they're still light on their feet, basically, is what I'm saying. Let me see here. Okay, here, hold on. Let me pull it up. Yeah, here it is right here. A growing number of sports bras, shirts, and leggings brands found with high levels of toxic chemical. You see what I'm saying? And this is the funny part about it, is that the things that women think they're supporting is destroying them. You know, that's the whole. You know, but the mentality is as long as you ain't ruling, as long as the man ain't ruling, nobody will rule. I don't care. As if they don't get to rule, nobody rules. Is the mentality. So I just posted the link right there in the comment section. So yeah, the leggings and all of that stuff got high level chemicals in it, and I didn't even talk about that in Encyclopedia on Alchemy when I didn't know nothing about it. But I'll definitely put it in on the new updated version, which probably will be coming out next year. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Kicked Out of Heaven hardcover will be coming out as well. So this is where we're at, people. This is where we're at. We are being attacked chemically. We are being attacked with the food. We are being attacked with the air. They said there's so many microplastics going on that autopsy reports are showing that a certain percentage of the human brain is now like 0.06% or some crazy shit like that, you know, because we're inhaling plastic, because there's so much plastic inside of our environment, and that's including inside the ocean and the evaporation of plastics into the air from the ocean. It's also dealing with plants, and it's also dealing with, and when I say plants, I'm talking about like chemical plants and factories that's operating in America. And then last but not least, our landfills. Okay, the landfills have all this shit going on, and they're burning the plastic into our air, and we are breathing in microscopic plastic. Do you understand how this shit is working? So watch out for the deterioration, and you got to fight until the death. Obviously, just like in nature, every fight that occurs in nature is usually a fight to the death. So that's it for today. I'm glad y'all came in to kick it with the 720. And yeah, let's put that in. Yeah, of course they created all of that shit. Brother Willie said it's an interview on BitChute with a Southern white preacher interviewing a rabbi, and he arrogantly claims that the Jews created all these movements from feminism to LGBT. His name is Abe Finkelstein. Yeah, I heard that one. I've heard that interview. I heard it a couple years ago, And he was also talking about how, yeah, we take your aborted babies and we make your McDonald's burger patties out of your own aborted babies and we feed them right to you because you are goyim and we want the shekels in this motherfucker. But you're a dumbass. It's like, hey, we tell them, you know, we tell them, and you do it anyway because you don't listen. You're not hearing thoroughly. Things don't connect when you're being told. But yeah, all of those groups, all the LGB, all of that shit was created by the Jews. Soros and all of these individuals got the big money, and the plan is to remove you off the planet Earth. Okay, so please know that we are all underneath attack, and the wise way to respond to this on the first layer is going to be our individual intellect and wherewithal when it comes to our self-preservation, and then it's going to be our unified effort of manpower. And then once we have a unified effort of manpower, one thing the Negro is going to have to respect is ranks and what you are good for. um Igor understood that he was Igor, and without Igor, Frankenstein wouldn't have been able to develop Frankenstein. Do you understand that? So Igor knew his position and he liked his position to stay in that position. The Negro wants to battle all types of positions and why this and why that. Nigga, you are who you are and what you are at your development rate, which explains your capabilities. Okay. And that's just the bottom line. If you don't have any capabilities, if you have no internalized development, you have nothing that you have naturally attuned yourself to, then you will shovel shit for the rest of your days. That's all there is to it. This game is called proof. We don't give a fuck about how you think or feel. It's facts and proof. I have proven that I can produce. Okay. And I've proven that my production is sound because we have universities that have researched and referenced my material, and then we also have the evaluations, which have remained in the hundreds and the thousands of dollars for years. So my position in this area is proven. Okay, I'm not just out here just blah 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 blah. You know, one of the main reasons I did that is for the respect of my audience. I wanted my audience to know and to feel comfortable with who they're listening to, and that the word has been evaluated and vouched for, and which it has. Okay, and these other individuals have not. They only have a degree, and I study the people who created the degree for you. Okay. You think you have done something special with the degree. I study the vampire, 1,000-year-old, 5,000-year-old entity that didn't help with the construction of the universities and then design the degree for the native who think he did something great. My nigga, you are far behind. You understand? So you get your fucking um your ranking from these individuals and I study them. Okay. So we're on. So just know that. And the production is sound. And if you have not produced, you have not proven. Therefore, you shut the fuck up, and therefore you stay on your fucking rank. You see what I'm saying? And it has to be told to you that way because a lot of people don't get it. I can't conduct a train, nigga. I can't drive a fucking, an 18-wheeler. I'm not trained for that. I'm not in those spaces. I can't conduct a heart surgery. What I can do is I can produce works, okay, and I can do sound research, and I have militancy involved into my picture, which is also proven. You can see the way I shoot on the fucking video I posted up. You know what I'm saying? We have and yeah, a couple other things I could do, but there's certain things I can't do, and I'll never put myself in the space of saying I can do or want to question an individual who does do something that I'm not in that industry. I'm not in that area. So we have to respect the position of our ranks, man. where you supposed to be. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, let me get the fuck up out of here. Anybody got something to say, man? I'll take some last comments or questions, and then if you want to hear a specific song, go ahead and request it. Yeah, brother said something here about hemp was used for clothing and cooking utensils. Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, the marijuana capital of this country, I mean, of the world, was Tennessee at one time. You know, and George Washington had a hemp plantation. As a matter of fact, the Declaration of Independence is written on hemp. Okay, if you want to go further with that, But seeing how to turn hemp into rope, I don't know how to do that. But there's individuals who are masterminded in that area, and we do need that. So that's the whole point. The black brain needs to be spread out into a multitude of different areas of study so we can have some self-sustenance, because otherwise it's all full of shit. And even me myself, I'm not quick to be on a reliance or a build up thing. Not with It doesn't even matter about race, but with anybody, man, because I don't know where your extension of thought is at. I don't People snap out, you know. Um Mental stability is very important, and a lot of people don't have it. So yeah, make sure you have it. That's the important thing. So yeah, I'm finna get up out of here. Let me go ahead and play 2 tracks. Y'all buy the books, donate. I need it. We all need to survive. It's some crazy times coming around the corner. And I definitely remember who is who and what is what. But inspection on how that brain is ticking is most definitely required to be around me, my nigga. Let me see here. The brother Gene Cole says, I know you wrote about the 35 different forms of beggars in your first volume. Do you think after this election there will be higher levels of beggars? That's a very interesting question. That is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and entertain that real quick. That's interesting. No, I don't think so. Um, what you're referring to is the sophistication of beggars that was going on, and actually that section is extended in the new hardcover that will be coming out. But I'll show you what he's talking about. What he's talking about is the beggars and vagabonds of old Europe. And this information actually comes directly out of, see, the vagabonds and beggars. It comes out of Germany. But I also have in the new updated version, I have a list of the ones in France and also the ones in Italy. And there was a high level of sophistication and trickery that was going on with the beggars and the vagabonds during that time. Will those arts be rebirthed? I highly doubt it. We're not dealing with sophisticated criminals on that level anymore. Um, they're all drowned out by drugs and heroin and all types of fucking alcohol and all types of shit. And they don't, and the native mind doesn't respect order and organization. For instance, the prostitutes, for instance, used to walk around wearing yellow, so you could be able to identify who is who and what is what when dealing around in the village. And this is also a time period where there wasn't vehicles and things of that nature. But the sophistication that was going on with those vagabonds and beggars at that time has been adjusted to white collar crimes. Okay. So when we hear of these pig butchering scams, and when we hear of these over the telephone scams and email scams that are occurring and people are being victimized by, that's where that sophistication is at. Criminality will always have a layer that is sophisticated. Okay, for instance, everything that's going on with Puffy, that's all sophisticated crime. Um, Same with everything that's going on with the mayor, that's all sophisticated as well. So, to operate with a demeanor, a class, do's and don'ts, secret language, and restrictions, with what you operate with and how you operate is what the definition of is in of sophistication in the criminal arts. So no, our bums will the bums, like the hardcore, you know, poor and beggars. Now with us having all these immigrants that are mixed into that realm as well, there may be tricks and trades that the immigrants may carry over with their begging skills and thievery that may intermix with our American. That is a possibility. Gang structure, that's also a possibility. But there's too much uh, free benefits given to our bums to truly enforce a responsive, sophisticated crime amongst the vagabonds, okay, and the beggars, okay. So the vagabonds and the beggars, um, they will go through literal crime, literal physical crime, and what I mean is by just kicking down the front door and climbing through the window, and they will also be committing crimes that truly have nothing to do with their survival, which is sexual crimes and things of that nature. So we have to understand that during that time period in the 1400s, 1500s, they were looking at criminals getting their heads cut off every day, and the criminals were being hung and by the hangman, and they were staying in the rope until they decomposed. Okay, and that witnessing that type of activity, and which is horror, blood, would definitely enforce a more tactical skill for the vagabond arts, which is being sophisticated. So due to the fact that our punishment system does not impose a serious threat on society, there is not a strength in the sophistication of crime. The American citizen is definitely uh, comforted and you know um, what's the word I'm looking for? They are used to you know these jail conditions that we have today, which would be considered damn near a 3-4 star hotel in other countries. So we don't have true punishment put down on us, and we are not the average American citizen is not scared or shows no fear towards a jail. The only thing that is really mental wrecking in that realm is the stress of being imposed, and it feels like you got a new mommy or daddy over you when it comes to your probation officer and parole officer, and you got to report and do all of that shit. But with they're turning ankle bracelets into fashion symbols. So as long as people are staying in that system and are adjusted to that system, I mean, look at our president is facing time right now. We have a mayor just got indicted by the feds, and we've been watching, movie stars and rap stars and everybody else getting locked up and doing crime, it bounces back to the television shows like The Walking Dead and influencing that character into the country, which we also see with American Greed. That TV show is what launched the mentality, and also the movie Wolf of Wall Street, of, hey, go out here, do the crime, and get the millions of dollars. If you have to do a little time, or if somebody dies, with the music of Get Rich or Die Trying also being, stirred into the pot, we have a system of, people have gained more courage and more, a laissez-faire attitude towards consequence, and the courage to the exploring or the great adventure of the criminal arts. And that's what crime is. It's an adventure. So people, a lot of people are, I don't know if, I mean, I highly doubt it. If your average bum that asks you for some change in the cup or at the stoplight is going to get into a sophisticated nature when it comes to their trickery, but don't doubt it. There is a possibility that that could occur, and that's because we have a lot of immigrants coming inside, the country, and which their status of poverty is more widespread, and they have survived in that realm of poverty by committing, different levels of trickery and gypsy arts that we have not witnessed. And once that culture line gets crossed into America, you might see a higher level of sophistication coming out of the bums when they need to do what they have to do to get a piece of bread to eat. Okay. And this definitely goes for stores being stolen from and things of that nature. So that was definitely a good question. I'm glad you brought that up, but there is a possibility for it. I ain't mean to be so long-winded, but those who are intellectuals explain things. Yeah, I'm saying always watch out for that. People who don't like to explain shit, they're 9 times out of 10 a liar. And if they're not a liar, they're fucking stupid. And if they're not a liar or stupid, they were probably abused as a child on any type of situation, and therefore it's built into their nerves and into their whole spiritual being that not to respond. Response may automatically get met with some form of violence. Okay, so yeah, watch out for those individuals when it comes to just basic communication. All right. So yeah, appreciate you, Gene Cole, for that question. That brought up a different point of view of things. And can anybody beat Jen Cole when it comes to the the donations? Nobody has done it yet. We are here for the friendly competition. Okay. And let's get this bag up because I got things to do. Y'all know that, like I know that, and you definitely know that. That is that it is very important for me to be able to finance my own situation when it comes to the books, when it comes to the music, when it comes to music videos, when it comes to all of that shit. I can't be having the stranger involved, as we see from what's going on in this rap game. All of these niggas are liars. All of these niggas, these niggas is bums. This nigga Young Dolph died. Only got paid $800. They promised this nigga 40K to kill the nigga, but this nigga only got paid $800. B, what type of weak ass fucking shit? It's all lies. Let's not get caught up with the lies, and that's not what I'm gonna get caught up into. For you, I got people to represent, and that is you, my nigga. So let's make it happen. Y'all donate. I put the cash app right there. You get the books. I just shipped out some books today. I'll ship out some more tomorrow. Place your orders now before it's all gone. This is phenomenal shit, because once these kicked out of heavens that I have are gone with color, you'll never see them in color pictures again. Okay? Only I have them right now, and you have to get them right now. That's also with the Black Man's Bible. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the East Coast is going to, with the Hurricane Helen or Helene, which is Helen, which is hell, which is the mother of Constantinople. So watch out what's going down. All right, and I'm out this bitch. Peace.
never look in my eyes. We hold the meeting outside, the element of surprise, the elegant and the wise. Elephant is my size, the testament that don't lie. Heaven sent, so we fly, represent till I die. Nothing else but Saga City. We drink whiskey out of double D titties. AK got 50, just to bless the holy shitty. We show no pity or no mercy. That's even if your pocket's hurting. Rolls Royce or the casket curtain, pleasure or the treasure searching. You niggas know I push that work in, that's for certain. They call me Father Merchant, the Martian lurking. They got your baby mama twerking and baking biscuits. Everybody's your servant in the gangster living. This is the money religion. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. I try to stay classy, but niggas don't like respect. A bunch of goons with hair on spoons and tattoos on their neck. A bunch of fools that'll lose their whole life in a bed. Around whores and corsets, more or less. Money's merry distress. When they birth life and death, we ask who fathered this mess. The debt from a pregnancy test got you asking what's next. Sell your flesh, cause you deserve the best, don't ya? Never know the aroma from a hairy choncha. Never know what side you want until your life's a goner. With that beef, we squeeze like limes on my Corona. From California to Florida, we survive with slanted eyes and mob minds. Nigga, this is God's grind. We will see in due time, put belief in new crimes. Relief is for the good guys, release the weak from true lies. Let them meet the chief of the blue skies, why not? I'm from the 90s, nigga, it was dark and hell was hot. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men.
Dealing off the turf like it was never gonna run dry, that ain't no business. No other game has run so disorganized. Look around. Everything that is taking care of business is together. Dig it tight.
Hard. Never sold my soul to the devil, but I can say you his. Welcome to Dante's America, where the demons live. Can you tell me the difference between the snake and the rib? We take the witches to the stake just because of Eve's bid. I got nothing to give, cause there's something to take. I plot my escape while drinking fermented grapes. The undead, the Dracula, the bat with the cape. Can't see the execution in face, whether he smiles or sobs. Do not bungle the job, you might trouble the mob. They will have you for lunch, anybody gets touched. The prostitutes don't clutch, and the ghosts stay hushed. I move smoothly for the booty, need my gold in a plush. So welcome, hear ye, come one, come all. This the last of days, masquerading death at the ball. Watch a dragon, so the sky and breathe fire on all. Strive to stay alive, because the wolf don't crawl. Yes, the eagle is law, we hunt the feeble and small. I'm not speaking to y'all, this is silence and secrecy. Providing the mystery, right story about victory. My blunt steak hickory, bitch niggas can't get with me. Not only OG, you know that shit ain't on history, nigga, fuck it. I catch a traitor's head in a bucket, I'm never trusted. My sword is never rusted, I'm plagued with the disgusted. Amazed and I love it, guns blazed at the summit. Gargoyle, who won it? Survive fights with night to watch your eyes turn bright. Keep your rosary beats for things that bumper tonight. Cause even saints face the tank for a piece of the bank. We all moving up ranks with these double-edged shanks. This is pirate and plank with song and strong drink. How long will fate take with bad success and good mistakes? We all gotta wait for the black or pearly gates. I was never early or late, the right don't debate. No, I won't hesitate. Rip his nose off his face, put his head on the plate, then I'll boil it with dates. They'll taste checkmate and then we all say grace.